Now here comes a story that's never been told.
If you're a former Jehovah's Witness, you know all about the word apostate. If you're a practicing Jehovah's Witness, it is highly unlikely you know what the word apostate means. I won't post the dictionary definitions of the word apostate in this video. I've used snippets of the dictionary definitions before, and a simple Google search will take you a few seconds. The governing body has not instructed JWs to avoid using Google. Not yet, anyway. In short, an apostate is someone who has left their religion because they no longer believe it to be true. Originally, the word apostate literally meant runaway slaves. Some may call that desertion, but that's not really fair considering they were slaves. Can you imagine being a slave? A slave has an owner, and the slave is expected to do whatever his or her owner tells them to do. A slave is treated like property, not like a human being. If you are or were JW, you don't have to imagine it. Whether you realize it or not, JWs are slaves to the Watchtower Society, specifically the governing body. If you are a JW who works at one of the Bethels or branches around the world, you are a slave to the organization. The governing body effectively owns you. Of course, you're free to leave Bethel if you don't like living and working in a cult compound. It's not everybody's cup of Kool-Aid. You may become disillusioned when you see some of the things that go on inside Bethel. You may find the strict rules and regulations exasperating and exhausting. You may like to sleep with a pillow between your legs, perhaps to ease back pain and or sciatica while you're sleeping. Well, that's a no-no at Bethel. I'm not even joking. The governing body wants to control what you do when you're asleep. I strayed a bit from the subject of this video. If you are an Ex-JW who has woken up, you know very well that the governing body has weaponized the word apostate and lied about its real meaning. The governing body tells JWs regularly to avoid apostates because they say apostates are mentally deranged. They are Satan's puppets. They have sinned against the Holy Spirit and there is no hope for them. They are liars and they want you to believe their lies. Of course, apostates know that the exact opposite is true. The governing body is lying to JWs. Why? Because the governing body does not want JWs to know the truth about the truth and leave the organization. JWs who leave the organization before they discover the lies generally still believe that apostates must be avoided. The warning to avoid apostates has been drummed into their heads on a monthly basis, and the fear of apostates may linger for the rest of their lives. I was one of those former JWs who still believed it was God's one true organization for a quarter of a century. I was POMI, which is physically out, mentally in. I would not celebrate birthdays and all the other days JWs avoid, like Christmas and Easter. I was afraid that something terrible would happen to me or to a loved one if I ate some birthday cake at the office, for example. On the other hand, fornicating would not prick my conscience at all. I wouldn't feel bad about swearing, getting drunk, or smoking weed. I never had an issue with X-rated films or so-called bad associations. I had worldly friends. The horror. JWs who leave the cult, let's just call it what it is, are affected in different ways. Quite a few of my JW friends left the cult around the same time as me. They didn't have any qualms about celebrating birthdays and Christmas. They wanted to make up for lost time. They would invite me, but I would decline their invitations. When I finally woke up after binging on ExJW videos for an entire weekend in December 2021, I remember sending some video links to an ExJW friend whose mother was still PMI. That's physically in, mentally in. I told him we needed to get her the fuck out of there, or something like that. I imagined the two of us on an epic rescue mission. We've all been there, right? Needless to say, she is still firmly inside the cult, having rejected logic and reason and facts. I should mention the fact that I jumped the gun and sent her a link to an Apostate video via WhatsApp, which sparked a lot of back and forth between the two of us because my friend didn't reply to my email immediately. That brings me to the point of this video, and I can already hear those of you who made it this far saying, about fucking time, and thank Christ for that. Just a little while longer. Towards the end of our exchange of messages, my friend's mother, who I also consider a friend, told me I was an apostate. That was when I googled the word apostate and found the real meaning of the word, as opposed to the governing body's twisted definition with all of its nasty and negative connotations. I made a whole video about it previously, but I'm sure the last thing you want to do now is watch yet another long-winded wordy video without any pictures. Anyway, I told her I had been an apostate ever since I left the organization 25 years ago, because an apostate is simply a person who has turned away from a particular belief system. If the governing body's fake definition of the word apostate is discarded, I had been an apostate for a quarter of a century without even knowing it. And that's when I started making apostate videos. I figured if I was an apostate already according to governing body's fake definition of the word, I might as well make up for lost time and shout it from the rooftops. The strange thing is, despite telling me his eyes were already open when I sent him the video links, my friend is now shunning me. We only used to get together maybe 3 or 4 times per year, but now it's down to 0. He has ignored my last 2 emails, and I can't phone him because he changes the number every few months. He's been doing that for many years for some reason. The person who has been celebrating birthdays and Christmas for the past 30 years is evidently still scared of the word apostate, because it was drilled into his head for the first half of his life that an apostate is the worst kind of person you can become, even worse than a murderer or a rapist, and I'm not even exaggerating, as my fellow apostates know. It doesn't bother me, but my message to other apostates is this: if you have JW friends and or family inside or even outside the cult, be very careful what you say to them. If they know or suspect that you're an apostate, they may sever ties with you. That's the power of child indoctrination. That's the power of the word apostate for anyone who had the misfortune of being associated with the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. Brief addendum. This is even scarier. The aforementioned friend has a younger brother who was never baptized and stopped attending meetings as soon as he could. And guess what? He is also shunning me. He used to tag along with his brother virtually all the time, so I consider him a friend too. We had some good times. He has a phone. He has my number. Nothing.